This week on the Linux Action Show, Dell shines their love on Linux. Well, kinda. We give you the details. YouTube wants to rock your home movies with their new HTML5-based video editor. We share our thoughts on just what this means for desktop Linux. Then it's our epic review of the Nokia N900. And we see how it stacks up against 4 other handheld gadgets. Oh, this week on the Linux Action Show. And welcome to the Linux Action Show, Season 12, Episode 6. My name is Brian. With me, Chris.
Hey there, Brian. Slot machines also run Linux.
Of course they do.
This is a neat one. Now, not all. I'll give you a little disclaimer. I personally know not all slot machines run Linux, but
They should.
They should.
They should.
These guys here are working on it. Check this thing out. Now, it's kind of an interesting combination of extremely high tech and extremely low tech.
Yeah.
They have got this little tiny motherboard here. This is where the high tech comes
Is that
in.
a little Pico board or something like
Exactly. It's a little custom Pico board. In fact, you notice it even has like an ISA almost looking interface here at the bottom of it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, old school. But on this, with this old school interface, they've got this 1.5 gigahertz ARM CPU.
Nice.
Or VIA CPU, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It has up to 1 gigabyte
I got
of
really
memory.
excited there for a second. Now I'm feeling
Yeah.
that like that. That's okay.
I know. 1 gigabyte of memory. It has if you're looking at the video version, there's a little white rectangle, and that is where you can put in a compact flash. You can have your operating system, memory, CPU, all that stuff on one board, but that's not too unusual. It's designed to have a little ROM chip in there that runs Linux. In fact, it has 512 kilobytes of, not ROM, but it is a writable memory that actually has to have a battery backup to stay running, and that is like the boot loader. They don't use like a standard Linux, Grub or Lilo or something like that. They use their own proprietary bootloader that has to have a battery backup, and
Really?
if it dies, the thing doesn't boot. They can put it in this little hardware box that can just be installed inside of the slot machine that runs Linux.
So it's more secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's great
Yeah.
about it is you take all this kind of it's kind of high tech. It's got 256 megabytes of memory, all this stuff just crammed into this little guy.
Shablam.
Its primary interface mode is COM ports and USB and a VGA out.
Well, hey, it's got USB. Look at that.
High tech. Yeah, that's the most.
Hey, Chris.
USB is the most
Down
modern
at the bottom
port.
there, it says CC Talk.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I would like a CC Talk port.
Maybe it's a type
Why
of.
is it that every time I buy a new computer,
Doesn't
it
come
doesn't
with
come with a CC Talk port?
Yeah. Chitty chat talk, right?
Chitty
know.
chat talk.
Kind
Yeah,
of an
that's what
interesting
it
run
is.
Linux, though, right? It's high tech
Oh,
meets low
yeah.
tech meets gambling. That was
Dude,
kind of
that's
cool.
fantastic. Well, I mean, you're not going to go and run Windows on a bunch of slot machines. That stuff's going to get hacked into.
You know, a lot of them do run
Yeah.
Windows.
Really?
I was in Vegas and walked into one of the hotels, and a bunch of the machines, the really nice big
The little
LCD touch
McAfee
ones.
pop-ups.
No, they had blue screen.
Really?
Ironically, yeah, they just
Oh,
like the
man.
classic Windows joke. It was the slot machine blue screen.
Well, doing the little random number generator there.
Yeah,
Hard.
Yeah, hard.
This is the operating system.
If you use that Windows API, it just might crash.
Man, it just is going to freak out.
Hey, Brian, but you know what isn't taxing to the operating system? That'd be our buddies over at GoDaddy.com.
That was the best segue
Thank you, sir.
you've ever done.
I know, I thought so too.
Which is fitting because this episode of the Linux Action Show is sponsored by GoDaddy.com, the world's largest web host and domain name registrar. If you're ready to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has got you covered. Domain names as low as $1.99 plus world-class hosting with unlimited disk space and bandwidth, do-it-yourself website builders, dedicated servers, SSL certificates, and so much more. Plus, as a Linux Action Show viewer or listener, enter promo code Linux. That's LINUX, all uppercase, lowercase
Whoa.
is lame.
Yeah.
At checkout and save an additional. Basically, you're going to yell Linux
Yeah.
into the
If you're not shouting, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Step
shout it.
up.
You don't do it in the forums. You do it at GoDaddy.
Right.
Save an additional 20%, or no, 10%. That's 10% off of any order, the entire order, all of the orders. Some restrictions may or may not apply. I do not have that information in front of me. See site for details. Get your piece of internet now at GoDaddy.com. Also, Linux 2.0. Shout that also.
Linux 2.0 will get you that 20.
Web hosting.
You wanted to say the 20%, but you knew it was Linux 20, and so do the folks out there. So thank you for using our promo codes Linux and Linux 20.
I did know it was.
You did.
Was Linux 20. I already knew that.
You knew that.
I knew that.
Hey, so
already.
check out my Android.
Yeah, someone in the chat room saying there should be a Linux 100.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Save 100%?
So GoDaddy.com, if you could get a hold of us and institute a Linux 100 coupon code, that would be
what we
great.
should have done? We should have came up, we should have talked to GoDaddy for our 4th birthday, and we should have said for the 4th birthday, let people for a week use Linux 100. Maybe we'll get them to do it for our 5th birthday. I don't know. It's worth trying.
Yeah.
Because I do love the idea of typing in Linux 100.
And it's just free. Yeah, I'm sure GoDaddy would go for that. They're like, we don't need to make money.
And then we get a bill. All right, so check this Android app out. Now, first, I'm going to tell you about this. I don't want everybody out there to freak out.
All right, lay it on me.
You got to
like
stay
crazy,
rational.
Man. All right, I'm going to stay rational.
Because it's freaky as hell.
All right.
This program is called InRoute.
That's great.
I know. And it's called location sharing. But here's the thing. It's not one of these fruity like Gowalla or Foursquare location sharing. It's actually practical location sharing. What it lets you do is you fire up this program, and it lets you email, SMS, Twitter, whatever you would choose to do. But I would do email or SMS to other peeps, and it's live tracking. And so even if they open up like on a phone, they just can do Google Maps. They'll be able to follow you live on the phone. So I was going out to pick up our buddy Jeremy the other day, and I jumped in the car. Grab mine. Which one is? See, I got 3 devices here. I don't know which one's my droid, and I want to be able to motion. I grabbed my droid, all heroic, like while I was driving.
Nice job, dude. That's a good grab.
And I thought, well, I might as well Twitter and Facebook while I drive.
You might as well.
And then I thought, well, I can multitask.
You won't get a ticket for that.
No. And I'll hold it up to my ear too while I do it, even though I'm not talking. But this InRoute, we have a new law in Washington where if you even hold the phone up to your face, you get pulled over.
No, if you have a phone in your hand.
It's a primary offense now.
If you have a phone in your hand,
it's
like
ridiculous.
you can be driving and you could be like, push a button to answer. That right there, that act of touching the phone, boom, ticket.
Crazy? Yes.
Yes.
So what InRoute lets you do is send a live link where somebody can monitor your InRoute, and you choose when to send them that information or not. Now, it is a bit of a battery hog, but if you have a huge battery, it works fine.
This is great because Jeremy's in the chat room right now telling me right now that InRoute stopped working because you lost signal at some point. Boom.
No, I turned it off. No, I turned it off because I just figured he wasn't watching it. I actually had signal all the way to his house, which was really. He lives out in a place where there's not very good cell reception. But
he lives in another country, actually.
Yeah, he actually does.
Yeah, he does.
And I was like, well, this is sucking down my battery. And we were heading out to the Diamond Knot, and I wanted a full phone charge, so I stopped sending to my location. But it works. I sent it to Ange too the other day because we have a 1-year-old, and we like to know when he's. I don't want to wake him up, and we like to prep the dog. So when I'm getting close, I'll send her my location so she knows when I'm approaching the house, so she knows when to get the dogs out of the house so they don't bark and wake up the kid. That is InRoute.
I'm sorry. Were you talking just now?
No.
I lost track of everything you just said. So
it's
InRoute.
I'll link to it in the show notes.
That's pretty exciting, I guess.
It's neat.
Ask me how excited I am about using InRoute.
How excited are you?
Not that excited.
It works surprising. I was surprised at how elegant it was. It'll actually generate an automatically shortened URL, and it'll send it from the phone, and you can blast it out, and then you have like this little warning area that, hey, by the way, dummy, you're sharing your location right now. Not only to the people that click that link, but it says, hey, by the way, nice red bar that says, hey, dummy, hey, you're a moron right now. You're losing all your privacy. And then you hit that stop button, and it stops transmitting.
Kablammy.
So that's the Android pick for this week. It's called InRoute, and I'll have a link to it.
It's actually EnRoute.
EnRoute. Okay. Yeah. In what?
EnRoute.
EnRoute, and I'll have a link for EnRoute in the show notes of this week's episode.
Because you don't ever call someone up and say,
I'm en route.
Hey, buddy, I'm en route to you. That doesn't make any sense. No, you say, I'm en route to you.
I say I'm en route.
Yeah, that's because...
I know. But a lot of people say it.
That's got to be your school district.
I didn't just...
I'm going to make fun of
I'll give you that.
School district.
I'll give you
Here's
that.
the thing, Chris. My sister went to the same school you went to.
Also the same problem?
Yeah. Both Chris and my sister are clinically retarded because of that.
Yeah. And now the chat room's been completely derailed. All right. You know what? With that note,
that was
Brian,
my entire plan.
Why don't we do the news?
What's new in the news this week?
All right, Brian. Our top story.
Wait. First, before we go any further.
Okay, go.
I want to mention something.
Okay.
I was not here last week.
Right.
So, here's the thing.
Okay.
I leave for one damned week.
I know, and everything went to hell.
It went to hell. What the heck happened here?
Well, so we did a story last week, and, it was one of those things where it was kind of like a last-minute show story we did, and we got the details wrong.
Okay, and when you say you got the details wrong...
We mean a lot. Now, we've gotten stories wrong on the show a couple of times, every now and then.
Getting it wrong is fun.
It's part of the fun, everybody.
You confused the game Unreal Tournament...
With Unreal CD.
With
which is a
IRC,
demon.
server.
Yes. Now, I have a perfectly good defense. I'm not going to make any
They
excuses.
both have the word Unreal in it.
They do.
Yeah. Also, the word Windows appears in every major OS, and you open Windows all the time.
That's true.
So I'm assuming that you think that those are actually
You talking about Windows over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, what
you
happened
got like
was
7 Windows up right now.
and I think it's a little shady, is the story. What we got wrong, we rolled with the story at the very last second because we thought it's always cool since we come out on Sundays if we can roll out of the gate with a nice catchy story.
Oh, yeah.
Because it grabs the clicks, and it's also just nice to be able to be as relevant as possible. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
So what happened was we read from an article that was confused, and so we just rolled with it instead of double checking. Because it was literally like at this moment right now, we were going live with the recording. He said, "Oh, this looks like Linux. There's actually a Trojan in the wild for Linux. It's been infecting this game for months and months." Well, it turns out that it was just the Unreal chat daemon. It is true. It does have a Trojan. That's real.
Come on,
So what we're doing, and this is kind of a neat process that we're going through, and it's something that has been kicked around for a while, but all of the stories for the Linux Action Show, we're going to do sort of a crowdsourced vetting before they make it into the show. Ideally. It might not happen all the time. It's still a new process.
Crowdsourced.
Yeah, crowdsourced.
Awesome.
So in Google Reader, because that's kind of my current workflow, I've got like 1 million feeds in Google Reader, maybe roughly around there. And I can just mark the items with notes, excuse me, with notes that I want to cover in the show. So what I'll be doing is posting those to my Buzz feed. I don't love Buzz. I think Buzz is okay. But the nice thing is Google Reader and Buzz are like best friends ever. And so if you share something, it goes to your Buzz feed. And then if dudes that are following me on Buzz make comments on the story, it goes back into Reader. So then I sit down here like a clown to get all the stories for the show, and I've got everyone's notes. In fact, 2 of the stories, the first story in the news docket wasn't even going to be covered in the show, except for the cool dudes. They had this huge conversation thread around the story.
Well, hey, I like that and everything, but I'm just a little worried.
That's how we'll vet that in the future.
I'm a little concerned that, flash forward 6 months, people will now expect journalistic integrity and accuracy.
We don't want to set a bar too high. I know.
I can't abide by that.
Right.
That's just not
what
thing
I'll do?
that I do.
Just every now and then, to throw everybody off, I'll just throw in a completely made up story. And I won't say which one.
I like that a lot.
Okay, all right,
cool.
That's something we can work with.
Hell, we got to maintain something here, an equilibrium.
Yeah. So if you are interested in how we're sort of crowdsourcing and sharing our news stories, if you want to kind of follow what's going to make it Linux Action Show, head over to the Colony, jupitercolony.com. There's a thread in there about how to participate in that. And then hopefully down the road, and every episode in this week's show will have been vetted by that group of people.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's absolutely insanity.
All right, should we talk about our top story on the news docket?
I guess we could. That from our crowdsourced
thingy-dingy. This our top story wasn't even going to make it in because I thought it was just kind of marketing BS, but it actually turns out to have an interesting twist. Dell says Ubuntu is safer than Windows. Well, they did. This is actually part of the interesting thing that the people in the BuzzFeed kind of followed up on.
Interesting.
So, if you frequent Dell's website, like I do for clients and things like that to make orders, at the top of most of their ordering pages, they say, Dell recommends Windows 7. Dell runs best with Windows 7. They kind of have this rotating ad banner up there.
Of course.
Now, earlier this week, Dell came out with a pretty nice dedicated page. It looks pretty good, written about how secure, safe, superior Ubuntu is. It's really good. They came out with 10 great points, and they even had a nice little table. And in this table, they described where Ubuntu has a leg up against Windows. Here's the interesting part.
Lay it on me.
Throughout the week, they started to get some heat over this, and so Dell retroactively has gone back and tweaked the wording, tweaked things in this post to be a little more favorable towards Windows. Now, this to me is indicative of probably some sort of internal power struggle because you've got Windows paying the bills, but you've got this larger and larger group inside Dell who's Linux fanboys. And I've seen videos from their Linux departments and very, very interesting stuff coming out of there.
Yep, very.
So they've changed some of the wording that they changed was secure. They changed that to be that it just is less targeted than Windows. One thing that they're still getting a little bit of heat from, and this is really where the conversation kind of went in Buzz, is they're really pushing in several different spots here that you don't need to worry about viruses or malware.
Great.
Current issue. The concern is that Dell is targeting new Linux users, and I happen to agree with the folks in Buzz. I don't think it's a good idea to teach them out of the gate to be relaxed about security. You look at it and you say Linux is secure by default compared to Windows. Like you put it on the internet, it's secure. It's not going to get attacked.
No complex system is ever going to be fully secure.
It's the nature of humans building a complex system. And so we probably want to, as we're bringing new users in, keep them mindful of still maintain good security practices. Watch what you download, watch what you run, what links you click on, things like that. So people in the Buzz thread were really burning Dell up over this, and it started quite a conversation around it.
Interesting.
And as that was happening, Dell, you could go back here and you could watch like little tweak here, little tweak there. Still, though, nonetheless, a very positive article from Dell on the advantages of running Ubuntu, with a nice little link at the bottom to shop for Dell products that use Ubuntu.
Man, that's fantastic. I love that.
I do too. I
love that.
Yeah. And I think it's also great that Dell has been staying current with Ubuntu.
Absolutely. I was really worried when they, was it 2 years ago when they first rolled them out that I'm like, man, they're gonna ditch this. 6 months later, we're never gonna hear about it. It was just a press release, big stunt, and they've stuck with it. And so that means obviously it's selling. People are buying it. Otherwise, Dell would drop it like a hot potato.
Right? They're only going to do what makes them money.
Dude, seriously.
At least I would think.
Dell couldn't care less.
Or
if
they
people,
show solid
If people
potential.
stop buying Windows for Dells, Dell will just stop carrying Windows.
Dell would probably love
they
that.
They could not care less.
No.
They just want to make the money because they're a company.
And it's actually... This is funny, right? If they had started selling Ubuntu and it just sold like they just started 5 million laptops sold, 10 million desktops, went crazy on fire, they would have been crushed. Right, the support infrastructure wouldn't have been there. The entire process wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be slowly ramping up more and more, which is exactly the pace they need to do as a business who honestly isn't making a lot of money. As a business, they need to be able to scale up appropriately along with that. And this is a nice slow ramp up, so it's looking good. And I think this looks like a positive.
I think it's fantastic.
All right, let's talk about the next story on the news docket. We go on and on in the show about video editors. I mean, we have since the start of the Linux Action Show. We've just rounded our 4th year, and now in the 5-year. Right, we're approaching the 5th anniversary. We're way off, but we're just starting. And in all of that time,
by that you mean
we've just launched. We've just started.
We're like 2 weeks past our 4th.
Yeah. I'm just saying though, we're now around the 4th corner.
Approaching. That's like saying, okay, we've made it to Mars. We're getting real close to Pluto now.
Exactly what I was thinking.
We're on our way.
But in all relative terms, we are on our way.
All right, yeah.
But it's funny that you said Pluto because I was exactly thinking space travel heading to Pluto. Like, we're on our way.
We're practically there.
So the main thing that I think is really there just has not been enough significant movement in video editors.
Yeah, it's been rough. Things have gotten better on the Linux desktop side, as we've said in the past. Things
in the last year specifically
way better.
Yeah. Now, YouTube is coming out, and they're dropping a cloud-based video editor. Now, we've always said, I'll believe in cloud apps when you can edit video. At least that's what I've always said. Now, YouTube's rolling this guy out, and what I think is kind of interesting about it is that it is an HTML5-based application. The video renders in Flash, and I'm actually looking at the live version of it right now, and it's super basic, but the idea is that you can drag clips down from the timeline into this video editor and essentially add transition and add audio from their impressive audio library of 45,000 different tracks, which is definitely decent for rights-free music that you can use.
It's a start. Yeah.
Some of them, I heard rumors. Actually, this one has a price tag on it. I was going to say, no, that's the title. I heard that they might charge for some of these down the road, but right now they should all be free. And you can go in and you can trim up the video, and if you don't have Flash, then all of the videos you're doing have to be HTML5 ready on YouTube, and you can enable that in your account. But you can actually even use this like on the Droid in the browser. You can use it under Linux. It's interesting. It makes you wonder if the future of Linux video editing might be something like this. Now, the way this system works is you have to have all these videos up in YouTube.
Now here's the flip side of this. Now there's the YouTube video editor, of course.
Yeah.
There's also Adobe Premiere Express.
Yeah.
I don't have a good screenshot of it.
Well, I know what you mean. Adobe Premiere Express is looking good, but does it run on Linux? Is it an Air app?
Yeah, it's Flex.
Oh.
It's a Flash Flare app. So it runs in your browser. Yeah.
Oh.
So if I remember correctly, there's a couple of all you need is a browser and Flash Player. Boom, done.
Wow.
Now it's obvious. Oh yeah, PhotoBucket's using it. So if you use PhotoBucket at all for doing your video editing, you will be using a version of Premiere Express.
Now the nice thing about this is it doesn't require Adobe Flash, right? It just runs in any HTML5 browser. But I would guess, based on my testing with this YouTube app, the only thing that's Flash in here is the video player. The rest is all HTML5.
You need Flash.
You need, if the videos aren't HTML5 video compatible on YouTube.
Oh, I gotcha.
But a lot of them are now, and you can turn that on in your account.
Well, that's cool.
And I don't know what the output.
Definitely cool.
I think the output format might still be Flash.
But it's close. I mean, doing it without
It doesn't
Flash
work very well though.
on YouTube. Still
It's not there
great.
yet. It's very early on. But for super basic cutting and adding a soundtrack.
Honestly, it's a cool beta.
Yeah.
I mean, like for a
But
beta type
the
thing.
Adobe Premiere Express in Flex, that is it free or are they going to charge for it? Either way, if it was charged but ran on Linux, I'd try.
I think
it
it's something that people can license or something like that for their
for their
websites.
own
Yeah.
embedded thing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Google should check that
But
out.
still, it's a cool technology that's there. Neither of them really make.
Do you think though,
great
dude?
Video editors.
As a developer of native apps,
Yeah.
and as someone who sometimes is a little concerned about their data being in the cloud, what do you
hate
think?
it.
You don't like editing on you, but
No,
you don't have to
it's
install
a dumb idea.
But you don't have to install a video editor. And as video
There
editors
is
get
that.
more complex, they become massive beasts.
It's cool for doing something like adding a quick little title to a video
Which I don't even
upload
know if
from
they
my
have
phone.
yet.
You know what I mean? Like that's-
Yeah, phone uploads would
Like
be a good
if
one.
I had a phone upload and then I wanted to on my phone or on my desktop add a title or a transition or something, that's very, very cool.
Or if you just wanted to shoot like a quick Kodak ZI8 video and it was just what you shot,
and
then
you
you
wanted to trim it or something like that.
I use annotations for that now on YouTube.
Yeah, but
Just
you
put
know
like
what
a
I mean.
note. But yeah, trimming it would be
Trimming
great.
it
So you
would
don't
be
get the
great.
how do I start this
So
thing?
it's a cool feature. Don't get me wrong. But if you're doing any expansive video editing, you're gonna want your stuff locally because you're not gonna want to have to upload all of your raw material.
Totally.
Wait for YouTube to process it, then go in and edit it on their servers. Wait for their servers to encode it. Wait for their servers to reprocess it.
It's
and
possible.
Then put it up for
One,
download.
I know
It just seems like a waste.
I know HTML5 allows for some local file access, so it may be possible down the road you won't have to upload it. But right now, you're totally locked into that YouTube library. You got to have everything in YouTube.
I don't see unless they put all of the encoding in JavaScript, which is a ridiculously
That would be
bad
nuts.
idea.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
nuts.
just not going to happen.
The encoding has to
You're
happen on
gonna-
their end
You're going to have to upload all the files to their server.
in order for it to decode for playback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just
And
how
you
it
know
is.
what else is?
So it's cool, but it's limited.
And I'm stoked because what this means is immediately Linux now has one more video editor. Not
Yeah,
a great
no,
one.
I'm
but
cool with that
instantly.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to poo-poo it. It's
just not
cool.
there. It's not realistic
just not,
yet.
It's not going to make it for me.
Yeah.
It is for video editing like Shotwell is for photo browsing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brian, the
That
last
was
story.
a little dig at Shotwell right there.
The last
Shotwell
story.
is currently my photo browsing nemesis. If you guys have not heard this,
We're keeping an open mind.
bring the hate. Come on, bring it on. I know
might-
you guys have the hate for me.
We
about
might
the
do a
Shotwell.
review in Shotwell next episode.
Now I'm not going to be here next week.
You won't. Yeah, you're going off on a trip.
I'll give you my notes. How's that? and what I'm going to say is I want you to read them word for word.
Okay. This is now a statement from Brian. We'll feature that next episode. Now, our last story on the news docket for this week. Brian, I put the story in here because I wanted to get your opinion on it. According to a survey conducted by the Open Source Developer Report, which I believe is run by the Eclipse Foundation, Linux is gaining... Linux development is gaining on Windows. People are developing for Linux on Windows under Eclipse and doing general development under Eclipse.
Right.
Under
Now, this is
Windows.
Just Eclipse developers.
Eclipse
not
developers,
All
yeah.
developers.
No, I know. And the way the article is written, but this is actually the reason is the way the survey was done. The survey was done is it makes it sound like it's all Linux development, but it's actually just development done inside Eclipse
No,
with
most people doing Eclipse development are doing things like Java and PHP
or
and the like.
don't you also use Eclipse for Android development? But it's like a
Yeah, you can.
yeah.
Yep.
So if you read the article, they make it sound like it's a win for Linux, and I think the reason is in their interpretation, it's you're developing Linux applications when you develop Android applications and things like that.
It is a win for Linux. It's not bad. But honestly, what a lot of this is,
Also, a 32.7% increase in Linux as their primary desktop. So that's big.
no, that's a much bigger deal. But I mean, realistically, I know a lot of developers who run Windows or even run OS 10 and as their main host. And then they're like, you know what? I want to do some Android development, or I want to have a clean virtual machine for just doing my Java
Yeah,
development. So what they'll do is they'll have VirtualBox or VMware with say a Debian or Red Hat or Ubuntu install. And it will just have their dev suite and just their build chain.
nice and contained.
Yeah, so then they can just copy
Snapshotable.
that off for this is the version I'm working on. This is the VM that
makes
builds
sense.
version 5 of my crazy Java app.
But I suppose a lot of them, maybe this
Nice and
indicates a
handy.
lot of them are switching to Linux as that primary OS, and then they're running VirtualBox or VMware on Linux.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too.
I definitely love that.
Check
'Cause
out
it's
this
the right way to
and
go.
we always love charts. Check out this pretty chart here of primary operating systems for development between 2007 and 2010. Now, this is run. This survey again is being conducted by what I believe the Open Source Developer Report, which is done through the Eclipse Foundation.
What is the other OS down there?
BOS? I don't know. So here's where it clocks in at. In 2007, Windows owned 73.8% of the developer market that was surveyed.
That's about right.
In 2009, 64%. In 2010, 58%. And in Linux has the same exact gains. In 2007, Linux was 20%.
Yep.
In 2009, it was 26%, and in 2010, it is 32%. And actually, Mac OS X is gaining too. The other OS section is dropping.
What does other OS mean? Does it say in the article?
I don't think it did.
I'm looking at this. I'm like, yeah.
I scanned it. All I saw was they talked about was Mac OS X, Windows, and Linux.
Because Linux is great. I want Linux to be going up like that.
Haiku?
Mac OS X, I don't really care one way or the other. But okay, here we go.
Here we go. They break it down.
Other Sun Solaris. Oh, okay. General HP UX.
Okay,
Sun
that makes sense
Solaris,
for independent shops
and
or
embedded systems, probably
or-
QNX or something.
Yeah, and also
Okay,
if you
I'm with
survey
that.
people that are developing for a company, they're going to have more of a focus like an AIX.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool.
Pretty interesting article. Pretty exciting to see developers switching to Linux as their primary desktop. I think that's really great.
No, it's a good idea.
Now, where do you stand as far as Eclipse being the tool that a lot of these people are using?
Eclipse is a really mega popular tool. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, Eclipse
But you don't use it?
Oh,
You
I
use it
totally
occasionally?
I
Okay.
use it occasionally.
I thought you weren't a fan.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you're doing Android development or Flex development,
Oh, Flex too?
well, see, Flex is mostly done. There's a free and open source SDK for it, which is what Illumination uses.
Right.
But if you want to do development in something other than Illumination, which
Why would you ever do that? No, that doesn't seem. That's not reasonable.
By the way, Illumination 2.0 is out.
I know it, dude.
Yeah, with
That's
full
exciting.
support for building Flex apps.
Tell me about that.
All right, but we got to come back to this because this is actually an important topic. All right,
Why don't
so
we make it? Do you want to make it a news story?
all right, well let's finish the Eclipse stuff.
I'm
here.
done with it.
So
Okay.
so
Finish what you were
like
gonna
Adobe released Flash Builder. Now,
Yeah.
Flash Builder is only available for Mac and Windows because
what they
I
make it
want to
for.
punch Adobe in the face for that because they had Flash Builder, which
Did
used
you
to be
see they
called
just-
Flex Builder for Linux, like in beta. It was available. It's just they.
Did you see they also dropped the 64-bit version of Linux Flash?
temporarily
Temporarily to the next
it's just
version.
It's just a build thing. That's
I know.
totally fine.
I know.
That's not
it
a big
always
deal.
feels though like a step back. But I realize they still have full intentions.
Totally okay.
I think their intention is to do it for all platforms next version.
You know what? Honestly, what it is, it's just them utilizing the resources they've got, like us,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for Illumination. During the beta process for 2.0, the first beta was only available for Macs.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the first beta that came out, and this was a little while ago, was only available for Macs. And why was that? Well, it was because that was the primary feature we were working on, and it just didn't make sense to go through the trouble of spending.
You gotta
time
focus on what you have time to
all
build,
the
deliver.
platforms. Yeah. So I mean, Opera does the same thing a lot of the times. They'll actually stagger releases here and there.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes sense.
Gotcha. So let's talk a little bit about it. So you just hit version. It's 2.0 final or
2.0. Yeah.
2.0.
2.0 final is out. Obviously, most of the development is done on Linux. So if you're running Linux, you're going to have kind of that first class experience.
Man, this site looks slick.
You like that?
Oh, I am digging it. I
Yeah.
am digging it.
Yeah, it is a much nicer site going on than we had before.
Yeah.
Before, I don't know if you guys saw the old Illumination website over at radicalbreeze.com. It was a mess.
Yeah.
It was like 50 links on the side.
I actually kind of liked it, but I like
And-
this a lot better.
Yeah, this is just cleaner. It looks nicer. It's cleaner. All the information is on like 5 or 6 tabs or whatever. It's people were giving me a hard time because they're like, dude, Illumination's really cool. Like it's super easy to use. I can't figure out how to buy it.
Oh,
and I'm like,
that's true. You want to make people be able to spend their
I'm
money.
like, oh crap, really? Like I was actually holding people's hands to help them buy it. I'm like, okay, this has got to change.
Yeah, you got to change that.
So I changed it up a little bit. Anyway, so it runs on Linux. Now you can build Python and GTK apps, which is cool. And we'll get into some of the reasons why, because heck, it runs on like the little Nokia N900
That's the next
here,
segment
sitting
right
here. We'll
there.
talk about that in a
Yeah,
minute. It runs,
yeah.
so you can build little apps that run on that.
That's cool.
But you can also build like desktop apps, and now full Flex websites. So like there's people that have been building all sorts of things, little games and little tutorial apps and whatnot.
Sure.
That they've been building kind of for their own amusement or for like a school setting. And now they're like, crap.
School setting's awesome.
Now I can hit one button, boop, publish, or basically build to Flex Web, boom,
Wow.
I create a
Same
little
app.
HTML snippet. Yeah, doesn't have to do a darn thing. Take the little HTML snippet and the little flash
For the
file.
little embed?
Copy a little embed tag, copy it up to their website. They can even just paste that right into their WordPress blog or something. Boom. They have their entire application running in the exact same way with no changes
Nice.
on their website, and it's running in Flash. So the only thing you need is Flash.
Oh, I like it too. And you're
freaking
showing
cool.
it off too, because on your site you put up some examples.
Oh, yeah.
And then you put right underneath them. Oh
Yeah, click on
live
that
flash
last
example.
one there. Click on that last one there. Yeah, you already did. You already brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then you can take a little quiz.
you can just take a little quiz. Yeah, well, that's a little quiz to tell you, hey, how cool.
And that's just one extra button. One extra button. You got.
Yeah, it's
that.
one. It's one.
So why
freaking
not?
Button. Yeah.
Why not?
So anyway, it's kind of cool. We're kind of excited about it. It was a free upgrade for everybody.
Oh, that's cool.
Because hey, I'm cool.
Spreading the love.
I'm not some
Any
jerk.
teases on what you're working on now, or are you?
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Yeah? What are you
We're
working
adding graphic stuff, graphics and game related development stuff.
That's big in schools too, because that gets the kids' attention.
Oh yeah, for
You know?
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So so the beta for that's going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. But 2.0 is out now. You can go grab it. Here's the thing: we priced it, and we went back and forth on this. We priced it $50.
We last dotted a little bit, but we're back. We're back.
You okay?
We're back.
All right.
We last dotted theradicalbreeze.com.
Did you last dot that one?
A little bit.
Don't do that, man.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Got the live stream going.
So we priced it $50. The thought was most development tools.
Crazy cheap.
Most development tools cost at least $100. And now Illumination is still fairly young. You know?
By the way, I really like your buy page.
You like that?
It's super simple. It's just right there.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and we try to make it so that the more you buy, like if you're a school,
I see it
cuts off a
auto
lot of-
calculates on the fly right here.
Yeah, so you can kind of figure it
That's
out, like where the
awesome.
sweet point is.
I'm gonna buy 15.
Yeah. Boom. Oh my
Nice.
gosh, you just saved 75
I
bucks.
love that.
Yeah, isn't that
Show
nice?
people what they're saving.
Yeah. So anyway, people are really liking it. We've gotten a lot of really good response mostly from schools. Like basically, it's like power users who have never developed software
But
before.
you have that niche that they want to build something for.
Yeah, they like want to do something like randomly cool. You know?
Yeah.
And
I think that'd be my category.
yeah. So and then the other group is schools who want to like teach development to
and
like
teach some of the concepts.
to like seventh graders. That
Yeah.
seems to be like the niche of where Illumination is really getting people.
Hey, that's awesome though. That's
Yeah.
a good niche to be in.
A lot of devs, like hardcore real devs, are looking at this and they're like, well, but I can already make software. And to them I say,
Yes, you can. Good job.
so anyway, so it's kind of cool. It's out. It's out for Linux. It's a GTK app. So if you're running on the KDE side of things, you'll have to install the GTK libraries. There's 64 and 32-bit versions available. There's Debian's up there, but there's also just
cool,
a
dude.
tar file in case you're running some weird OS. A weird distro. I don't know what
okay.
you're running.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to make assumptions.
He's not going to make your choices for you, right?
Yeah. Oh, one other thing. I wanted to point this out just because I want other developers to be doing this.
Yeah.
Go to the download page.
Oh, all right. The download page.
All right. So it's available for all those platforms, right?
Yep.
Windows and Mac and Linux. You buy it once, you can use it wherever the hell you want.
Oh, so if I buy the Linux version and I get a Mac, or if I buy the Mac version
Yeah.
and I switch to Linux,
Your license works on all of them.
that pisses me off. Like Adobe does this.
Yes.
If you buy the Windows version of Adobe's
You can't use the
$1,000
Mac
software,
version.
how crazy is that?
Yeah, or we use
And when they do ship a Linux version one day,
we use streaming software here to get this out there, and it's only available for Mac or Windows. Well, obviously we're a Linux shop, but so we'll jump back
aggravating.
and forth between Mac
Yeah.
and Windows to try and
we
get
don't
the
wanna use
streaming
either
going.
one.
We don't really want to, but we're stuck with using one or the other because otherwise we have to rebuy this like $7 billion software package.
yeah,
It's
and the
annoying as
hardware
hell.
we'd have to read. It's crazy.
It's annoying as hell. I wish more developers would just say,
I hear you,
and,
dude.
And my general license is if you buy it once, just use it on any of
I
your
like that.
machines at home. Like if you or your wife or your kid wants to use it, don't rebuy it.
Don't be a jerk to him. Just let
just,
him use it.
Just use it. You don't have to pay me another $50 or pay Rackleby's another $50 to use it. Just use it, man.
There's your face.
Enjoy it.
There you have it.
People need to relax.
Stop being so greedy.
Hey, ask me how many times Illumination Software Creator phones home and talks to my service.
Oh, hey Brian, how many times are you
Never.
spying on? What?
It never does that because doing that is a jerk
What about
thing
when
to
I
do.
have to switch machines and it has to rescan my hardware profile so that way I'm not robbing you and I know. Come on, right? Seriously.
Seriously,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Look, people in the chat room are
How is
loving the
that?
licensing. People in the chat room are loving it.
Dude, I mean, and I should really make it more clear on the website. Like, I originally left it vague because I'm like, well, obviously, I'm not a jerk, so you can just buy it and use it.
Put it right down here. Be like, works.
Like,
buy once, run on all platforms.
I mean, technically, it's shareware, right? So, like, and I honestly dig the shareware model. It's old school. Like, I'm a 1980s kid. You know what I mean? I was born in the 70s.
It's more direct.
I spent my years hanging out in the old computer shops with the floppy disks hanging on the baggies, and you pay like $1. Basically, you're buying the floppy, you bring it home, and if you really like the app, the trial version, you get an unlock key. You tape that unlock key in,
This is the
and you
future
get the
version
software.
of the floppies hanging on the wall.
See, I just wish people would do that more often and not use so much DRM, not use so many restrictions in their software. Just, it's a trial version. You type in a code, it's the full version. Put it on all your machines at home because honestly, in the old days, you buy like, let's see, Wolfenstein 3D. Remember, Wolfenstein 3D was a great game.
And you got like the first batch of levels, right?
Yeah, the first batch of levels, but you buy it.
And you unlocked all the levels.
I mean, come on.
And then you had that key.
Yeah, and you can put it on any of your PCs at home because it's yours. You had this piece of software.
You owned it.
You got a new computer. You stick it on it. Your wife has a computer. You put it on there, and you say, "Come on, honey, you'll like playing games." And she really didn't, but you could put it on there.
Totally, and I did.
It makes me so grumpy when stuff like that's going on.
Yeah. All right, Brian. I totally agree with you. So, guys, go over to radicalbreeze.com to check out the latest release of Illumination Software Creator. Are you just calling it Illumination?
I've
noticed
it's Illumination Software Creator.
I know, but I've noticed when you refer
name.
to it,
it's Illumination. In the forum over at radicalbreeze.com/forum, people just call it ISC for short. Because,
fancy. I won't say what ISC stands for in the Microsoft world because it makes me grumpy.
What does ISC stand for?
It's Internet Sharing Connect or something. It's some stupid routing thing that always screws me up on Windows
Server.
Server.
That makes me sad that I share an acronym.
Oh, dude, there's no unused acronyms. There are no unused acronyms.
I would have to probably have like 50 letters to have an.
It's the same problem we have with names. That's why we have things like Migo and Flickr and Dig with 2 Gs and all that kind of crap. All right, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's all the news for this week. A little bit before we started this segment, off the air for the live stream, Brian and I were talking about how there does seem to be some of the fun in computing out of the room these days.
Yeah,
specifically,
the
I'm
last,
IT
half
guy.
Hour talking about this. Yeah,
it's a good reason to watch the live show. He's a software developer.
Or a horrible reason to watch the live show because now the live show guys
have to hear it again.
Have to hear all of this again. For those of you driving in your car hearing it the first time, this is great stuff.
Yeah.
For those of you in the live chat room, you guys are falling asleep.
Not only do you get to watch the show once, but then you get to hear this conversation twice.
Yeah, fantastic.
And what we were just saying is there's like pressures put on software developers. Make it quicker, make it cheaper. Maybe they're going to outsource it. In IT, computers are not that mystical box anymore that they don't understand. They're kind of coming down to reality. So IT support people don't really have the respect, and they don't really they don't consider that it's still an educated trade profession that you're in that you have to be an expert on. And it's all taking the fun out. And it's kind of making a stressful pressure thing.
Fun out of room. Back in the early 80s, there were several magazines where you could type in the code from the back pages of the magazine. It'd be in BASIC or some other language, usually BASIC. And you type it into your Commodore or your PET or your Atari or something, and blam. You got a little app, and half the time you typed it in wrong. And it wouldn't quite work. Or it would work in a weird way. But that was exciting and fun, and you could do it in an afternoon. And you didn't have to have programming experience. You didn't have to have a computer science degree. You didn't have to have a support team behind you and a giant manual next to you, though that often helped. But it was fun. It was exciting.
Right. And it was new.
It was new. And it was easy enough that you could do it and you could just dive into it. Like I remember when we brought when I got my first PC. When I got my first 286, right? It was a clunker of a machine. Big gray beast of a box with a giant red switch on the side.
The awesome retro power
and
switch.
you have to reach way back there and jank, and it was.
Remember when they actually changed the physical connection?
Yes. It's what it was. It was the inside. It was like a giant, it was like those sci-fi movies. It was like I was putting Frankenstein monster.
I honestly,
bring him to life.
When ATX rolled out, I thought the power button was a huge disappointment. I was bummed on the power. What is this crap? I plug it into my what? No, and so we were talking how really some of the fun's been lost, but really in a big way for me and probably for you too is these new portable devices that are coming out now is sort of like the new frontier again. Stuff's brand new. Like I've got here the Motorola Droid. And if you look at my Droid, it's been abused. It's got a big old fat battery on there that like
it looks ridiculous. It looks like a
doubles
weird
the width.
spaceship now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of awesome in a way.
It is kind of, and that's the cockpit. right?
Yeah.
Right there in the. Anyways, this is the frontier, in my opinion. Hacking this thing, putting new Froyo ROMs on here, overclocking it, getting the apps to work just right.
It brings the fun back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because just like a year ago, Chris and I were sitting around, and Chris was saying, Brian, I'm just not having any fun anymore. We were talking about, and I can't remember what we were going to review, but it was some new distro on the Linux.
Yeah, and it's just
show,
like boring.
and we were having a hard time with it because it wasn't working right, and we'd have to hack with it. We'd have to tinker on it, and neither of us just wanted to.
Yeah, it was just not getting our excitement.
We were just like, this is just not interesting. Now for me, that's kind of come back.
That comes and goes.
A little recharge. It
yeah,
comes and
you
goes.
get recharged.
But yeah, it's
Linux is also like
so
that.
much of its
and I
fun.
think that's why we like Linux, because it's also the exciting area where real things are being changed.
Stuff's
and
moving.
And real people are making it happen.
Yeah, and you're encouraged to take part, even if it's not developing the software yourself, even if it's just, you get to go and test the latest random thing this developer puts out every other hour.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun to be able to do that. So anyway, we've got a bunch of phones in front of us. Phone, tablet,
things.
PDA things. And this all sparked off because we finally got an N900 here.
Mm-hmm.
Now the N900
We're talking about that for a while.
Been out for a while now. It's been out for quite some time. We're not, this is definitely not a breaking, cutting edge review we've got going on.
Yeah, it's
here.
not a brand new device by any means, but it is for us, and it's still an area of active development, so it's new in that sense too.
Well, so it's interesting. There's a lot of news going on with the teaming up between Nokia and Intel, and
where we
coming out
got
with MeeGo and everything else. And so we thought, you know what? Let's take a look at where the N900 is at.
And let's compare it because we do happen to have the previous model, the N810.
N810 here.
Yep.
So we've got those models, and we thought, you know what?
For
While
fun.
we're at it, let's compare it to the Android phone, an iPhone running the latest iOS 4 from Apple, and a really
and for
old,
retro sakes, an old iPac, an old Pocket PC compact iPac that actually
Linux.
It does run Linux. I put a custom OS on here. This thing is a beast. It's one of those units where
it's
to get
mega.
Wi-Fi you had to have a compact flash 802.11b adapter, and then you had to put it in this caddy sleeve thing. So the actual device is actually not.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I've lost the stylus quite a while ago. But so these are a range of devices. Now the
All
reason
over
this
the map.
iPac's out here is because I don't know if this has a year on it, but I think it came out.
old.
It's years ago. So it's interesting to see. It came out in 2005, I think.
Yeah.
So kind of an interesting,
Something about right.
maybe even 2000 actually.
Really?
Yeah, because it came with Outlook 2000.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I was working at Microsoft in 2001, and I believe that was out.
It's for people that are into these brands. It's the Agency Series PE 2030. I have no idea.
No idea.
Or it's the
Old compact.
or the iPac H3900. Maybe chat room. Could you Google search HP or compact iPac H3900?
And
Anyway,
we just crowdsourced
I know.
our work. That's
our own
fantastic.
information.
So let's start off with a little review of the N900 here. Now this is the N900 from Nokia.
And that's not running MeeGo. It's running Maemo.
This is running Maemo 5, codename Fremantle.
Oh.
And it's running the latest updated OS.
Making adorable little sounds too.
I have no idea what sound that is.
It's a new message. But it's a.
I got a see okay, so boom. I just got a random little text message here from my sister. Boom. Brings
Nice.
that up. Now everything is
It has a built-in 3G modem.
Oh yeah.
But you have to supply your own SIM. So it's unlocked though.
It's a fully unlocked phone. I'm running this on AT&T right now. It runs on T-Mobile and whatnot too.
GSM.
Fantastic, great. It's actually got a SIM and a micro SIM slot.
Oh,
in
it has micro SIM too.
Yeah, I'll pull the battery off and show you in a minute. And that's great. It's got a camera on the front. The camera on the front is crazy low quality. I don't know what
front-facing camera. Wait, that's not possible.
Yeah, so it's
I've heard that's
no,
revolutionary.
so you yeah, no, that changes everything. It costs a ton to make that happen.
Is there any software that actually uses it though? That's the problem. Oh, okay, because I have Fring.
Not much.
Fring supports it.
No, wait, hold on here. Just so you can see the quality of the camera, there is actually an app on here that just does nothing but display the camera back at you. Here, it's called Mirror.
But the back camera is a nice 5 megapixel camera.
The back camera is a really nice one, so you can see that.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
super low quality.
usable, adorable, smooth, decent frame rate.
And honestly, the lighting on it's really bad, so it looks like you're in a horror movie that's like night visioned.
Black and white, but you almost kind of dig it in a way.
Yeah, it's
Man, I am
hardcore.
good looking. Look at me at this angle. Hi there.
Yeah, you're doing a
How
great
you
job.
doing?
Yeah.
I can see how it's nice for a quick video chat.
Yeah, that's about it. That is definitely about it. So
It's a gorgeous phone. It's a gorgeous device that happens to have some phone functionality too. So it's one of these devices though that you can take. It's a single device. That's what I want. I wanted one device. I don't want to carry 5 devices.
So,
which I keep going that direction, and I keep trying to come back, carry one device, and I want it to be a Linux-powered device.
Now, I'm a huge tablet fan.
Yeah.
I loved my N810. I still love it. It's a great device. The big problem was its lack of mobile internet
Only had
access.
Wi-Fi.
That it only has Wi-Fi. Now
So you would bring another phone and act as a Wi-Fi router.
I had a Windows mobile phone that was just there to be a Wi-Fi router so that I could hop on Skype and whatnot with the tablet, and it worked great. Also, front-facing camera. But
what?
Of course, Apple
That's
invented.
years old.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know.
We tease.
But now that this N900's here,
The N900 from an aesthetics point is a much cleaner, sleeker package.
It's a smaller package.
It is smaller, but you know what?
Here, for those on the video side,
I dig this one, but it has a little give to the backing and stuff like this. That feels more solid.
For those of you on the video, here's the N900 in front of the N810. You can see there's a little overlap there, probably a good I don't know, half-inch.
It's almost a half-inch, and
it's much smaller. Now the N900,
I don't know if I'd say thinner though.
The N900 is thicker. It's a thicker phone. It's more like a standard phone. It's similar in many ways to the Droid. It's a little thicker than the Droid, but it's not so thick that it's not going to fit in your pocket.
Right. I mean,
so it fits,
and it's shorter as well. So if you hate that long feeling in your pocket, you know what I mean? Like when you have a long brick of a device in there, it doesn't have that problem.
No.
Which is nice.
So the hardware is great. It has the same screen resolution, same basic screen resolution as the N810 did. So that means that it's easy to bring over a lot of those N810 apps.
But on a smaller screen,
smaller.
The pixel density is higher and the images look a little sharper.
They do look a little sharper. It's pretty slick. So and then I'll touch on the battery life just briefly. Great battery life. I was using the hell out of this all day yesterday with probably
Not the same as the Droid.
I don't know, 7 or 8 apps running, including Pigeon, multiple web pages up, including web pages that had embedded Flash going on top of it, and a game in the background, and a little note-taking app.
It's still running good.
It ran the entire day.
Nice. Oh, I like the notification system. So when he gets a notification, a little box just slides along the top of the screen. You know, like on the I think the Android, it's a lot like the Android system where you can just slide down this notification area and it just gives you a little notification at the top. Whereas the iPhone's like a full screen, like dialogue that comes up and it's really in your face. Now, as far as like software selection
this is where it starts to get interesting.
There's no marketplace, right?
There's
a repo store. There is a marketplace.
There's both a marketplace and a repo.
I like that.
The marketplace is small. It's the Nokia's Ovi Store thing.
That's right.
There's not a ton available on it, to be honest with you. If you pick up this phone and hop into Nokia's built-in store, which, by the way, an icon for it is preset on the desktop. So you're thinking, okay, great, I'm going to go install apps from this. You're going to find some apps, but not that many, and you're going to be kind of disappointed.
Okay. But then you have the regular software repo, too.
But then you got the repos. It comes out of the box with kind of the Mamo.org repo enabled.
Okay.
But those are only the blessed applications. You want the good stuff because you're a nerd and you really want to get in there and install all these apps that all these people are creating.
Yeah, I do.
That are not maybe necessarily final candidate quality yet. They're beta, but honestly, most of them are really good beta. So there's instructions out there for adding some additional repos to your N900 device to install testing and development.
Are they still
repositories.
Deb packages?
Yeah, they're all Debs. It's a Debian-based,
and it's an ARM CPU, so they have to be ARM compiled.
Yeah,
but if they're ARM compiled, you can run the whole application on there.
Yeah,
I like.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I like.
But
all right. Now that's really cool. But what about for a guy like you who wants to be able to maybe sell some software? Don't you like having a pretty active marketplace?
It's got the Ovi Store. The Ovi Store is built in right out of the gate, and you can sell stuff there.
But you're not going to sell
here's
anything.
The other thing. There's no restrictions on how you get applications on here.
I like that.
So I can sell software from my own damned website. People can go to...
It's more like a PC paradigm where you download the installer file.
Right. We could make an app for the N900, put it on JupiterBroadcasting.com and nowhere else.
But the nice thing about a marketplace is it's a built-in audience. So you already have eyeballs there. They do the payment and transaction processing for you.
I'm not going to lie. There's definitely benefits there, and Nokia has that with the Ovi Store.
But nobody uses it. It might as well not be there.
It's there. People do use it.
Okay.
But people don't use it as much. I mean, if you're a nerd...
And will that make it to MeGo?
The Ovi Store?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm
Yes.
glad. Now, comparing the N900 across all of the devices we have here on the table, and there are an F ton of devices right now on this table that are just little portable gadgets. I would say the N900 would have the overall best package of everything. Like I've got the Droid here. The N900 and the Droid have about the same screen, right? And this Droid that I have is considered to have a really good screen.
Yeah.
And I would say it's comparable with the N900.
N900 has a fantastic screen.
Also, I really dig the closable camera lens. It's got a Carl Zeiss 5 megapixel.
When you slide it open, the camera
app starts.
You can
it's got a dual LED, but I like that.
Yep, and the LED flash.
And when you close the camera lens, the camera app closes.
It's all done.
So that's really nice. Then, like I said, the picture quality looked great. The UI. What do you think of the UI on the N900?
Love it. Holy crap. Now, do you have any screenshots there to bring up? All right, yeah, bring that up there.
Yeah, this is a good
what
one.
you're seeing right now, if you're watching the video one, is the task switcher.
They tile all of the running programs. It's almost like this. If you know comp is and you do the super key E and you see all of your desktops at once,
Yep.
it's like that, only it's individual applications.
Which makes sense because on a mobile phone, each app is full screen. So what you're seeing is all your virtual desktops that are dynamic. So every time you create a new app, essentially it creates a new desktop and you get to see them all. So it's great from that point of view. And here's the thing, super freaking fluid fast.
Even multitasking.
You don't, dude, I kid you not, literally yesterday, because, come on, I was out and about. I was at a family party and, for a while, everyone else was having a good time.
Playing around.
I'm just going to kind of dick around on my phone.
Yep.
So I got Scum VM running here. I was playing the original Monkey Island.
Nice, dude.
Which, by the way, the VGA version, which runs gorgeously on that. Try that on your iPhones. When I got bored of that, I switched over to FreeCiv, which is a Civilization open source client, which runs like freaking butter on this. It's amazing. All the while, I had my Gmail browser in the background, my Illumination forum in the background, Ping FM, just because that's nice to be able to ping people.
And it supports Flash, right?
Supports Flash. I was able to watch a YouTube video. I had Pigeon running the entire day in the background with all my instant messaging accounts logged in. No push notifications. No. Oh, we don't have multitasking. So what we'll do is we'll tell the servers to push you a notification that you can open an application so you can check your instant messaging status. That is lame.
Yeah.
That is lame.
Yeah.
That is lame. No. Running, checking like a desktop application all day long, full battery in the morning. It was about dead at night. But, we're talking I used it like a laptop.
So let me ask you
day,
this.
And it lasted that long. And it was fluid the whole time. Every time switching between major games and everything, it was fast.
Now you can put in
Incredible.
Can we pop the back off? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do I just pop?
Okay, let me shut it down.
Can you would you be willing to spend money on this same exact hardware, maybe a touch faster, I don't know, because you have more room, on a larger, like 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch tablet or a pad screen?
Yeah.
Because this seems like, to me, an amazing tablet, like a larger tablet OS. Because almost now the nice thing about this is the portability because of its size, but the only limitation too is I immediately want everything bigger. So what I would want is this OS on a tablet. So first of all, we should mention removable battery.
Removable battery.
What a concept.
Oh, that's weird.
It doesn't ruin the phone to have it removable. Now tell me about...
And the back just pops up. There's no weird tool. It has a little spot to stick your thumbnail, and it just pops the back off. That's literally how you do it.
Now, I noticed on here that there was two SIM slots. Now, are you rocking two phone providers, or why would you have two SIM slots on the back? See, we pulled the battery off where you have two SIMs in there. Why would you do that?
No, two different size SIMs.
So they've got the micro SIM in there and the full size.
Yeah. See this? Is this right here? Boop.
Yeah. I know. I was just setting it up for the audience.
Yeah, no, it's so yeah. It's, oh, Chris actually understood that one. Yeah. You gotta check it out. I was thinking he might have confused this for an IRC client. I wasn't quite certain yet.
Wait a minute, does that have a Trojan, dude?
So no, it's just two different SIM card slices for whatever your provider has.
Well, and it's nice because in Europe, more and more of them are going to those micro SIMs. So if you were going to travel the world with your N900, you just pop one of those suckers in.
Yep,
that's cool.
It's incredible. It's got about 18 bajillion terabytes of storage. Which is fantastic for me.
32 gigs.
Yeah, it's got 32 gigs of storage built in.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Do you know what the price is? It's not cheap.
Oh, I don't know.
It's like $500.
Here's the problem.
There's no carrier subsidized version.
Right. So you get the unlocked version.
Which is crazy, right? This is Nokia. Why is there no carrier subsidized? They're like the biggest effing phone maker in the world.
So now I've got this one on loan. It was sent over to me by Nokia to play with. Actually, they sent it over to me so, basically so I can make sure that it works really well with Illumination Software Creator.
That's cool.
So, obviously, because I had the N810 here, Illumination apps.
Different CPU? Same CPU architecture?
Different.
Okay.
Much faster stuff
in
the 900. But it worked great on this, but I didn't have an N900 to test against, so they sent this over, and now it runs great on N900s too. But
boots up fast. It's already at the graphical GUI. The Droid takes about a minute to boot up.
Everything on this is fast. But see, here's the thing. So I've got this free, but I've only got it free for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then I've got to send it back.
Are you going to buy it?
I have to.
You do?
I have
love it that much. You're gonna.
This is the coolest portable device
I've
ever seen in my life.
Let's just play total for funsies. Let's say for $100 more, you got a 9-inch version of this. Would you go for the larger one so you could have larger apps, or would you go for the portable version so you can put it in your pocket and make phone calls?
I'd probably go for the portable right now.
Really?
Yeah. See, the thing is, I love having the tablet. I like having a bigger screen. I want a tablet.
But you still own the N98. You have the N8.
I have the N810.
So you'll have
right
the N810,
here.
and when you give that back, you could get a tablet version. Not that they have it. We're talking theoretically.
I still need a good cell phone.
Yeah.
No, there's the other thing. As a cell phone, it's pretty average. There's nothing to write home about for the cell phone on this. It works fine.
It's a cell phone.
It's a cell phone. It's got decent contacts. It works.
And it does sync with Exchange too, I noticed.
Yes.
It has an Exchange sync option.
And you can even sync it up with your Google stuff as well. So there's instructions for getting that
pretty
set up.
wild. So coming from this Pocket PC, which might actually be almost 10 years old.
We've come a long ways.
We have come a really long ways.
Because that was awesome.
But this, what's funny? Color screen.
Yeah.
Multitask.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Apple, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
But seriously, this is fast. One of the things I noticed, with the Android phones, unless you have the latest and greatest, like even swiping between desktops is slow.
Yeah.
And stuttery.
Yeah, instantly nice.
Super fluid.
On this Droid I have. Oh, I should show you this. This is their expose like thing they have now. On their Droid,
nice.
they're on the Droid running Froyo at a gigahertz. I still every now and then would have sluggy going between screens. Yeah. I've replaced that, and look at this now. I mean, it flies. But this This is not the default Android home screen. This is a replacement home screen. It's almost identical, but whatever they improved, they made the switching. This is going to be my Android pick probably next week. I want to try it for a couple of weeks. They made switching between the different screens really nice.
Much better, yeah.
I like Android because I think that's where the momentum is. And this, because it's Memo, is kind of like, it'd be like buying a Windows phone right now.
In a way it kind of is. But the difference is...
because they're just coming to end of life in the year.
If you have, let's say, a Python GTK app or a CQT app running on this... with a quick recompile, it should run just fine on Migo phones.
Okay.
That's the big difference. Whereas if you have a Windows mobile phone, it's end of life, and you have an app for it.
It's a new dev environment too, right?
That's gone. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're not going to get that on your.
So you're
phone.
You're talking a minor tweak, and now the apps you've been building for this
are on the next gen, and
that's cool
for desktops and for other devices that support those.
Because Migo's going
open frameworks.
Yeah.
Now, if you build an app for an Android phone,
you're only running it on Android.
It's just going to run on Androids. You're never going to get that app running on anything
But if you build a Migo app...
that's the end of the story on that.
That's an interesting advantage they have there. And imagine...
from a nerd point of view,
imagine if they did come out with if they take that Nokia store and they get a big catalog and they get Migo, they get a nice Migo device out there and they really get all established, and then you can run that same OS on a desktop with an app store that could be good.
Would be great.
It could be what people have really been asking for, because I've been hearing a lot of people saying, why aren't there app stores for... there's a Ubuntu Software Center, but it's still not even charging for apps yet. It's really just it's a nice portal.
Theoretically, it will be charging for apps in October, which, by the way, very excited about.
Yeah.
Would like that very, very much.
And it's not, it's just so that way people can develop for Linux and feed themselves. And
I do like putting food on the table.
You cannot deny, though, the fact that we've got 5 different tablet type devices in front of us right now shows that this is what is really exciting, at least in our opinion.
It's still a big growing market.
It's the new frontier, and you cannot look at the iPhone in my opinion, next to the N900 and the Droid, and the fact that both of these multitask, both of these let you load the software any way you want them,
Yep.
both of them let you reflash the operating system. You can treat the hardware the way they want.
Do whatever you want.
They both let you swap out the battery, which
Both let you hop into
I
a
did.
Yeah,
a Linux terminal.
And seriously, with the N900, there's a little X term
Yep.
built in by default. Pop it open, do whatever
Now,
the hell I want.
The question is,
Awesome.
and it's a totally legitimate question. Noah Hall in the chat room is asking, why would you want to be able to do that on your portable device? And that's a fair question. I asked myself that.
I have a very straightforward answer for that. If you are not a nerd, you don't.
I thought I wanted, and on occasion I still do, the iPhone. I've got the iPhone here with their 4.0 OS, which I think is out by the time this show airs. I'm not sure. And
I don't know.
I don't think it actually is. But I thought I wanted a curated environment because in my opinion, the iPad and the iPhone are like a magazine, right? They're this really nice presentation of information that you want that you can flip through, and it's all curated, all specially arranged. But when you get to the end of that magazine, there's no more magazine to read. You have nowhere else to go. Where on these devices, these Android devices and these Maemo devices, that's just the beginning. There's some curated aspects to it, and I think the N900 has more polish than Android, so it's a little more curated. But you could stop there if you wanted. You have
could.
the option to stop
Yeah.
there, and that's why Android is selling a bajillion a second of phones, is because you could make it a normal person's phone.
That's true.
But the option to expand, to learn, to grow, I feel like in the last 2 weeks, I have learned more about Android than I have learned about Windows or Linux combined in the last 2 years, because I've just reached a point. You reach a saturation point where there's not a lot more to learn and there's not enough changing. Whereas this, in 2 weeks, I'm gobbling it up and I love it.
That's great.
And I immediately hit a wall with my iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
Now that wall is, I'll be fair, on average, the iPhone is more stable than my Android phone. My iPhone, until I replaced the battery, my iPhone battery lasted longer. My iPhone felt faster. But all the tweaks here, because I can tweak this phone,
You can get it there.
it's now faster. It now has a longer battery life. It now has more applications.
And I should
I had to
point
work
out,
for it, though.
on the N900, way faster than the iPhone by default,
And 32 gigs.
and never crashed once. And I've had applications crash.
Right.
I can kill them.
Yeah, you can kill the process.
And the system runs great.
And so it's not for everyone, though, is my point.
It's not. It is not.
But I
If-
think
if
it's probably
you're-
for most our audience.
If you're a nerd, you want to be able to have the power. It's the difference between a magazine and the internet. You know what I mean? It's
It is.
for an N900, you boot up. Where do you want to go?
The internet.
If you don't know where you want to go, the N900's not for you. If you want someone to tell you, here, load up iTunes and buy this new,
If you want to hand it to you.
Shakira CD. You need to buy Shakira CDs. Shakira CDs.
I don't know about that. But I think that's...
As far as I know, that's all you do on an iPhone.
I think it's
But
fair, though. I think for my clients, for my mom, I probably right now would go with a more curated device.
Yeah.
But I think when Migo has a little bit of legs underneath it and there's a decent enough marketplace and there's a decent enough ecosystem around it, then it's going to have that nice polished look.
But
And they're
here's-
working on that.
Here's a flip side to it.
All right.
Let's say you have a client. Let's say you've got a big, mega 500-person company, and you need phones rolled out to all of them, and you want to be able to control it.
That's a different story.
Now, you roll out an iPhone to them, they're going to start with some specific apps they need to do their jobs. Things are going to start getting updated. Stuff's going to break. Apple's going to pull those applications you needed from the store, and you are not going to be able to do your job. They're all going to look at Chris and say, what the hell did you do to
and
us?
if you have an IT department where you could roll out your own applications and manage
Now, on the
them,
N900, you could roll all of the phones out with your own repository and only
yeah, I
that
was gonna say.
repository. That way, not only can you control every app that's installed on it, but you control when they get updated.
and you could do the same thing on Android. You could do like what you could do on the N900 is like your own ROM that's been branded.
Yep.
And like I have a different theme on here. All this guy did is he went through and he branded this to make it look nicer. And I could have like a company logo in here and things
Exactly.
like that. Yeah. So that's a big market for it.
Much more power. So from my point of view, if you're an IT guy in a company or you're a nerd, you have to
You'll
be
just get
buying
bored.
the devices like this. If you go for the iPhone, you're doing it because
Well,
this is a flashy piece of candy.
I would go for the iPhone for the hardware. Just that design is nice. It's a nice design. I like. I believe, just based on what I understand of antenna technology, that the new antenna in the iPhone is going to be really slick.
Probably.
And but what I want to be able to do, and this is where they lock you down, is I want to take the new iPhone 4 hardware and I want to install Android on it. Right? I don't want to run iOS. I want to run Android.
Yeah.
I can't do that, so it's not really an option. So therefore, that's why that phone
And
isn't sitting
honestly,
here.
though, Again, N900 speed.
Good. It was good
stability.
speed. Do you know what the CPU speed
hardware
is?
keyboard,
it felt snappy.
Like a billion.
Yeah, it felt like a billion.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
all I know is it's faster and it's great, and even
I think it makes your penis larger too.
even the 3D effects on it are pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
I'll load up GLtron here.
Nice.
I mean, come on. You
I
can't-
do like if I have a favorite desktop Linux game.
Hold on. Start game.
Speakers are pretty good. It looks
Meow,
fantastic.
meow, meow.
Here, I'll oops, not that one. Here, hold up for the folks to see the camera. It's Tron. It's OpenGL Tron, just like you have on the Linux desktop.
Whoa!
Playing full screen.
All right, and I'm going to turn this down now because
Oh,
we probably don't need to hear it.
They have a nice global system menu for closing applications and things like that. The multitasking does not get away. It doesn't feel like
There's
you
nothing-
lose.
yeah.
On the Android, I feel like sometimes I lose a little bit of handle on what's running. Like, I haven't used this phone for a day because it's been the weekend.
Yep.
So I'll open up my task manager here, and let's see. I may have a bunch of apps. I have a handful of apps, but like one of them is Fring, right? That's my Skype app, and the Twit MediaFly app, and the ROM manager. I didn't open any of these programs. I haven't opened it, but they launch because some other program calls on them.
Dude, do not have that problem here.
But on there, because you have the expose like effect to see what all the programs you have running, you hit one button, you have all of your programs running. The Android OS doesn't even have that functionality built in. I went and downloaded Advanced Task Killer. Google's response to that is, well, you don't need to manage them on Android. Let Android do it and it'll manage it. That may be true,
Chris.
but it makes me nervous. Yeah. Well, I guess I do have a terminal.
I load up Xterm, I type top.
Yep, and
And
there's your top.
I can type kill and kill whatever I want to kill because my phone is basically a Linux desktop computer
And it's
with
wild.
an amazing UI on it.
They're even using Xorg.
Yes.
It's pretty
It
wild.
is freaking awesome.
Ooh, and you can highlight. You can use your finger to highlight sections of the terminal. I wonder if I can do that on the Droid. I should try that. That's really cool.
Now do I have anything bad to say about it?
Oh yeah, let's ask that.
Yes, I do. There's no D-pad.
Oh, I honestly am not huge about. I'm not
There's
huge about
great
Xorg.
emulators on this and all sorts of stuff because, let's be honest, it's mega powerful. It's running Linux. It's got good 3D acceleration. Why wouldn't you want some great like video game emulators available? So you've got all of them.
The one in
but
this
no
shot has
D-pad.
this one has a stand in this shot.
Yeah.
Where's your stand?
I don't have a stand.
How do some of them have a stand?
I don't think they actually ship with stands.
Oh,
yeah, I think that's a pre-release version or something.
maybe I kind of dig the stand.
Yeah, I miss having the little flip-out stand from the. You can kind of see that there in the shot.
Yeah, you can
From
prop
the-
it up and look at it
Yeah,
and read.
just look at that. Here, I'll put that back here. You can kind of see it. Oh, look at that. I love having that.
You know, we
here
should
and
just have that there. Just
again.
put the Linux Action Show logo on it. All right, so
it's
you
great.
finally got your hands on it, and you really liked it as much
And
as you thought you would.
I love it. I love it.
Good
more
size.
than any phone I've ever used.
It's a bit heavy, but it doesn't feel heavy like in an inconvenient way. It feels heavy like
it's
well built.
sturdy.
It's lighter than
It's
the Droid.
solid. It works great.
It's heavier than the iPhone, lighter than the Droid.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. If you're a nerd, you're not getting the iPhone anyway.
Well,
the iPhone is past its day.
it's nice.
Jumped the shark.
The nice thing about the
It's
slimness and the lightness of the iPhone is it is a good pocket slider. Slide it in. You know, the Droid, I definitely feel, and this, it's built big, bulkier, so you probably feel it in your pocket pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hey, you know, maybe not everybody has a cramped area down there. Oh, it does have a stand.
It's got a kickstand.
Did somebody say that in the chat room?
Yeah, someone in the chat room was like, "Where's it at?" The kickstand is hidden. There's a little camera cover here.
Oh, that's where they put it.
Little tiny kickstand. That is adorable. It's not quite as big and hardcore as the old one, but
It still works,
it
right?
still works. Boom, just like that.
Nice,
Oh
dude.
man, I just learned something new.
That is pretty slick.
Yeah, it's kind of chintzy feeling, to be honest with you. It's little.
It looks a little chintzy.
I'm probably not going to use that one as much. Whereas the N900 one's
Built
like
in.
this
It's metal.
hardcore thing. I love metal.
Yeah, I like that one too. All right, Brian, that's
So
the
it's
look at
great.
the N900, and you loved it.
I loved it.
And you're gonna buy it.
Absolutely. All of my concerns about the Maemo operating system being obsolete, gone.
Good.
This
good.
is
I'm
fantastic.
I believe you're right.
I'm
gonna wait.
And the touchscreen's great. For those of you who are wondering, it comes with a stylus.
Oh, that
It's-
was my knock. Yeah,
It's
I don't like
stylus
stylus.
optimized, to be sure. However,
That's gotta change.
most of the UI works great with your finger.
But nobody's doing styluses anymore. Not even Microsoft is doing styluses.
But there's good use for the stylus. So you don't have to use the stylus with your N900. You don't have to.
And it's got a little spot to tuck it in there.
Everything else, the phone, everything else works fine with my finger. I was playing with it most of the day yesterday
I
with
made
my
a phone
finger.
call with my finger.
But what if you want like a painting application? Painting with your finger is lame. It doesn't really work. There's 1,000 iPhone apps
Or signatures.
for painting. Yeah, you can't sign things. You can't paint things. You can't play games where you have to focus on little tiny tapping on things.
If you've
you
ever,
need a stylus.
this is kind of funny. If you've ever shopped at the Apple Store in like the last, I don't know how long they've been doing this, but a while now, they have a checkout system on the floor with iPod touches, right?
Yeah.
You know what they carry around? Styluses.
Yeah.
They have people sign on there. So I see a point. I would just like to have both, I guess.
You have both.
But it's a different type of screen, a different type of touch system.
It is a different type of touch system.
It's the capacitive,
it's more optimized for
it's resistive
stylus,
touch,
which is better for styluses, but it works fine with your finger.
I would not be surprised to see that go though. I really would.
So? Because I really like that.
I know, and there's a real practical use for it. It's that public opinion. Oh, styluses are the way we did it in the '90s, kind of thing. But there's real legitimate uses.
Yeah, but
for
you know
it.
how we also did it in the '90s?
Awesome.
Keyboards.
You know what I would like though?
You know what else we had?
I would like a pen for client sign-offs.
Here's that iPhone real quick. You know what else we had in the '90s? Multitasking. you know what else we had in the '90s?
Yeah,
the ability
true.
to install our own applications.
Yeah,
I'm kind of liking the way we did it in the 90s.
And if I had
this whole 2008 to 2010 bullcrap of locking everything down,
it needs to end,
and only running one app at a time.
That's the essence of these phones, right?
Seriously, this is less powerful than DOS, because in DOS you can install whatever you want. You just can't run more than one at a time.
Yeah.
In this, you can only run one at a time, and you can't install what you want. So
isn't it interesting to see all these other devices come out?
That's pre-1980s. Hell, there's never been a point in computing history when things have been this locked down, this restrictive, and this unpowerful. It is ridiculous.
Do you suppose that thanks to that lockdown nature that we're getting sort of the response in these devices of do whatever the F you want? Except for unless you're Microsoft coming out with Windows Mobile 7 and you're just exactly copying Apple's lockdown model. I would really like to have, just to finish that thought off though, I poo-pooed on the stylus a little bit, but if I could have the option, and if I could tuck it in like you can on the N900 to the back of the Droid, I would
just for
client
sign-offs.
Like, we'll do that project. Yeah, just go ahead and sign off here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just an extra bit of power. It's like the keyboard on here. There is an on-screen keyboard on the N900. I don't use it because I like physical ones. But if you didn't like physical ones, well, don't slide the keyboard out. Don't use it.
Yep.
I like having the option. I like the flexibility. And of course, you can always just use this with your finger and never use the stylus. But well, what if you want the stylus? It's there. The front-facing camera. Are you going to use it? Probably not. I honestly, I haven't used it for anything more than just playing around with it, seeing if it works.
Yeah.
Am I ever going to use it? Maybe once. But I love having the option. So
and you know what else too?
That's a big deal for me.
The camera quality is low, sure. But what if you take sort of the Fedora approach? Apple says we're not going to put a camera in until it's 5 megapixels, but then that means nobody is developing software to take advantage of it. Whereas if this launches like the N8, it might not be amazing, but you can start playing with it and you can start writing your applications to take advantage of it.
Makes it fun
because eventually it'll be exciting. It'll be a gigapixel eventually. So why not just get in on that bandwagon now and have a little fun? It works.
Exactly. It works. And it works great. It works great. Could it be improved? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
But everything could be improved.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Apple obviously doesn't wait until things are perfect. Otherwise, they would have made multitasking work. Or copy and paste. They shipped a friggin' phone without the ability to copy text. So they don't wait until
Windows
things
Mobile
are perfect.
7. Windows Mobile 7.
Dude, seriously.
I know. I'm so
ridiculous.
disappointed. I'm glad we don't have to cover that on this show.
Dude, N900.
I'm impressed.
Android
I like
devices. A phone. The compact running Linux. Power. Linux. Openness. Total freedom.
Yep.
And I'm not saying freedom like the GPL says you have to release your source code freedom. I'm saying freedom like do whatever the hell you want. It's your device. It works out of the gate, but if you want to tweak it, go nuts.
That's a pretty positive review.
That's
I'd
how
say-
it should be.
I'd
That's
say-
how these devices should be.
Let's wrap it with just a couple of points that I'm going to say are negative would be
All right, lay it on
the
me.
potential. I know it doesn't sound like it's that big of a deal, but just the fact that it does ship with an end-of-life operating system.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to knock it for that. I don't like it because they can't.
Yep.
They boned the OS like almost like a month or two after the device release.
No,
but it
it's true.
sounds like a workable solution is down the road, so it's not like the end of the road. I'm sure
Right.
soon enough.
It's not end of the road like iPhone is end of the road.
It's not end of the road
Or
like.
like Android is end of the road. It's end of the road like
Well,
there's
how
a
is it?
future
How are
thing.
Android and iPhone end
Is
of the
there
road?
ever going to be a new version of Android or iPhone that will break backwards compatibility?
Oh, probably.
Ever? Okay. In that case, those apps are dead.
But we don't
This-
know when. But we know for sure when that is.
But you know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know it will come.
Eventually it'll happen.
Every
it always will
OS
happen with every
will
OS.
always
yeah.
eventually break backwards. Even Windows does it eventually.
But there's a certain level of expectation when you buy a device that you're going to get a certain amount of lifetime out of it. Right? Not
But
2
you
months.
get that out of this.
But you got it. I know. It's just not it's not like locked in stone with the future potential. I'm just going to say it's a possible negative, but not a very big one.
But I can still run all the apps I want. I'm going to be able to get future apps.
And people will still make apps for it.
And I'm going to be able to install
in the
Migo
repo.
on this.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're using Migo development on this is their platform reference device.
Why would the other problem is there's no cell phone carrier that carries it, so you have to spend that unlocked fee for it. And it's a Nokia phone.
You know what? I like that.
Oh, I do too.
See,
I just don't want to spend that money.
I don't want to spend the money.
I want the unlocked. I want the locked price of the unlocked functionality.
I'm in no contract.
Right.
If I'm like, you know what, I don't want AT&T anymore,
Right.
but I still love this device. Pop the SIM.
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
It's still an awesome tablet.
So, but
Right
why
out
do you
the
suppose
gate,
nobody
and
picked it up?
no
It just
need.
seems it seems crazy to me.
It's honestly hardware and software wise, it blows the Droid out of the water. It blows the iPhone out of the water. I
But
don't know
nobody
what.
carries it, and that's so frustrating. But you can buy it yourself, so
That's
I
messed
won't.
up.
I won't give it a total negative on that. But I'll. It's a mention. It is a mention. And I think other than that, I think other than that, the stylus I'm on the fence on. So
Yeah, I really want a D-pad. I know that's ridiculous, but the the old N810 had
got those retro games.
Had
Dude.
kind of a pseudo D-pad. It wasn't great, but it worked.
How possible is it to hook up? It has a USB port on there.
Yeah, and
Is it
there's also
possible?
Bluetooth as well.
Oh.
So yeah, it totally is possible. People have been in the forums talking
keyboard
about
on
how
there or
cool
something?
it would be to have like a PS3 controller.
Yeah.
Just carry a PS3 controller and
hook
an
up
N900 around.
It is USB. Maybe hook up the Xbox 360 controller.
Oh, dude,
That'd
that's
be
a good
rad.
controller too. That would work great.
I know.
So yeah, but then again, people in the chat room are saying you want a Pandora. There is something to be said
That's
for
a good
that.
point.
The
Now
other
we're back to
Pandora,
multi-devices, though.
But now we're back to multi-devices, which honestly, I'm okay with.
Yeah, you might not carry the Pandora. You could have like your Scum VM on here, but if you knew you're gonna be gone for a while, like you're going to the movies and you're gonna be
Pandora in your pocket.
Yeah. But if you're just going to like a family function, you might just bring the N900.
Bring the phone. Yeah, because this is I'm gonna say this straight up. The N900 is like a mullet. It's business up front and it's a party in the back.
Nice, dude. That's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Linux Action Show says the N900 like a mullet.
In the best way possible. Okay, Chris.
Heck of a show, Brian.
I think we're done.
I do believe.
I think we finished your show.
We finised her up.
Which
And,
is good because this show has exhausted me.
I know in my mouth, my balls ran out like midway through. I mean the drink
I'm
balls.
just gonna drink.
I don't mean the
balls.
the drink balls
No.
ran out about midway through.
Good Lord, man. So I'm gonna be out next week. If you guys do a show, please,
Mountain Dew?
for the love of God,
Drink Mountain Dew.
don't screw everything up again.
Well, what if I just kind of throw in like one random element, just something totally random, and I'll just say I'll delineate it. This moment right now is for Brian, and then something completely random, like the Windows Action Show for like 5 minutes, and then
Okay.
back to the regular show. And that's pretty big, right?
You know what's messed up?
What?
The Windows Action Show wouldn't actually be that random because we've joked about doing the Windows Action Show for one episode, just to freak everyone
You
out.
should have said anything because we could have still
We've been
got it.
joking about it for like 4 years now.
Yeah, it was gonna be April Fool's for like 4 years.
I think actually we joked about it on like episode 2.
The problem is to really
Or
do it,
like episode 5,000.
to do an
now.
awesome April Fool's joke, you gotta like go with new artwork, new theme music, new
Dude, I
intro.
know.
And so, you know what we should have been doing? We should have been using this 4 years to just slowly build a little catalog.
Well,
and
no,
then, you know,
build a catalog. See, what we have to do though is we have to convince someone like at Microsoft
to come on the show.
show.
Oh man.
And we have to do it in a way where he doesn't get what's going on.
Yeah.
But we're still making fun of him the
Right.
whole time.
Oh, God, that'd
and
be
it would take
beautiful.
so much prep work, and I am such a lazy person.
Flip idea
inherently.
from the chat room. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm stealing this right from Tech Blogger in the chat room. What if we did the Apple Action Show and got someone on like Andy Anok or some big Mac fanboy and just had a little fun?
Dude, here's the thing though: the Apple fanboys all know me and hate me.
Oh, true.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I was thinking like an Apple logo that comes at the screen back and forth, and it like rock music with flashing lights, and or some John Mayer, something crazy.
little Bob Dylan, little John Mayer, get it rocking.
Yeah,
Holy
only the karaoke versions because we can't actually use
we
those.
could, or we could play some Beatles songs, but then not have
Right,
Beatles in the
right,
iTunes
yeah.
store.
Yeah.
Good stuff. No,
So probably a
there's no way
Shotwell.
to convince them.
Probably at best, you're gonna get a Shotwell episode next week.
All right, I'll write up some Shotwell notes.
There
for
you
How's
go.
That?
Yeah.
How's that? So you'll have a little bit of Brian, just not in person.
Just a little the essence of Brian.
Essence of Brian.
Yeah, you like that?
You know,
You're gonna be in California, so
I'm gonna be in California. That's
maybe
so
you
I
could
gotta
Skype in from your front-facing N900 camera.
I could Skype in if you want. The wedding is on Saturday, so I'm gonna be a little hungover on Sunday when we normally record.
Hey guys, and the camera will be like swaying back and forth.
And the front-facing camera on here is kind of green, so I'm just gonna be like, nervous.
Then you'll drop in the toilet while you're puking.
I probably will.
All right, so
But
that'll
it'll be
be you'll want to catch that. That's going to be live next Sunday, and then we
All
come
right.
out on the evenings on Sunday.
All right, so we got the forum,
JupiterColony.com.
You got the Twitters, Brian Lunduke and Chris LAS.
That'd be
Very
me.
exciting. Jupiter Broadcasting over on Facebook, which is if you put our name of our thing
After the
Jupiter Broadcasting,
Facebook.com.
after the Facebook.com with a whack in the middle.
You'd probably find out about
gonna
live
find it.
events when new shows
And all
come out,
sorts of
things
stuff
like
there.
that.
It's very, very exciting. Everyone loves that.
We should say it's
good
not
stuff.
your wedding. You're already married. People
No,
in the
I'm
chat
already
room.
married.
People in the chat room
No.
thought you were getting married.
No, I got married. When
3
the hell
years
did
ago?
I get
3?
married? 2006. Almost 4 years. My 4
Right after we started the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Right after we
That's
started the
right.
show.
Yeah, you were in the wedding.
Yep. Oh yeah.
In a dress.
Oh yeah. I was actually.
Yeah, in a kilt.
In a kilt.
You looked rad.
Yeah, and
I
then
actually had a custom kilt made for
you
mine.
did, yeah. Well, actually, weren't they all kind of custom? in a
No,
way?
they were
tweaked a little bit.
No, well, they were tweaked
Tweaked?
a little bit. They were fitted to you guys. But,
Yeah.
but
well, we
yeah.
had this scene. We thought for the photographer we'd run down the side of a hill because it's this nice grassy hill in downtown Seattle.
It looks great. It's Bravehearty.
But my freaking kilt went up over my thing. So my kilt goes up as I'm running down the hill.
I've got all the video of that. You know what we should do? We should post it all.
Oh, yeah, we should.
It looks great.
We'll blur out my junk for you. No.
Oh, it's all good. Plus, you got the little sporin on the little purse in front of your junk.
That's right.
So that was kind of cute.
And I had a whole shirt. It was a whole outfit.
You look good.
It was nice socks,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me
whole
wrong.
Fox deal.
It was. I went all out on that.
Oh, you look straight up pimping in that. That was rocking. No, it's not my wedding. Aunt of mine's getting married, and I'm gonna take some time to go down to California.
It's good for you.
I'm actually taking the train down.
Yeah, that's a good way to go.
Dude, I cannot.
Perfect when you have a lot of Linux devices to play with, too.
Dude, I will too. I'm gonna have my phone on me and everything else. Oh, look at your iPhone's making noise.
So is my droid. Look
so-
at, that's the kind of Father's Day I get. Happy Father's Day, sucker.
That's a lot of love.
I know.
So anyway, I'm gonna be on the train.
Okay.
Right? I'm gonna be on the train going down, and when I'm on the train, I like to take a stand. I'm like, you know what?
When I'm on the train,
I'm not gonna be too techie. You know what I mean?
right.
Like I'm gonna have my
You want to
phone on me.
unplug a little bit.
Yeah, I want to unplug just a little. I'll have to work a little bit, but not too much. We got those little rooms on the train because they're kind of cheap.
Yeah.
So
Those are nice to get. I was looking at trains, and that's.
I'm bringing my cross stitch with me.
Okay, you're gonna do a little cross
I'm
stitching.
gonna do cross stitching on the train. Have I told you about this?
You did.
The stuff I'm.
You haven't told
cross-stitching?
them about this.
So I've got 2 projects I'm working on. Now I know what you're saying. Brian, cross stitching. That's not manly. It totally is. And here's why.
Okay.
I'm working on 2 projects right now. One is a Space Invaders thing. It's about yay big.
like mid-action, like mid-scene, or
No,
what?
It's great. So it's Space Invaders all the way around the sides.
Okay.
It's old. It's white with black. So it's all the Space Invaders are on black. Basically, all the Space Invaders bordering everything. And in the middle, a little quote from H.G. Wells about how aliens can descend from the sky at any point
I dig.
without warning.
I dig.
The other one I'm working on is all black. Remember Oregon Trail?
Yeah, oh yeah, you bet. I
The
remember
Oregon Trail, the video game. It's an Oregon Trail inspired game with it's got the little wagon sitting in there, and it looks just like the game because cross stitch looks like pixels. So it's great for doing old 1980s pixel art. So the Oregon Trail is there, but on the left side is this little spaceship coming in from the side, and the spaceship has a little skeleton on it.
Of course, there's a spaceship.
Now, and right below in the standard Oregon Trail message window, it says Reavers attack, you have died.
Wow.
Yeah, so a combination of Firefly and Oregon Trail in cross stitch.
That's pretty wild, dude.
It looked basically just like that, except on the left-hand side, for those who have seen the video, there's a spaceship with a skeleton on the front, some blood, and some broken off parts. Reavers attack, you have died.
This was one of my first games, too, and I got to ask,
game.
why is there no movie based on Oregon Trail? We've got all these other movies based on video games, and nothing. Tell
Seriously.
an epic story with Oregon Trail, everybody.
You seriously can. Especially mixing it with Firefly.
Right.
You know what? Firefly is really about Oregon Trail.
Were you like in the shower when you got that kind of idea or something? Where do you get the idea to combine Oregon Trail and Firefly?
Dude, this is great. For those of you who are super nerdy and want to get into cross stitching, I believe it's called Sprite Stitch. Do a search for that. There's a website of people dedicated to the idea of taking their favorite video games and cross stitching them.
Hey,
And so I found a pattern for it. I'm like, dude, I have to do that. I have to do that. I
Sure.
saw it and I lost my mind. So there it is. There's a picture of it. Someone super awesome found it up for me.
Dude, the chat room's on the ball today.
That is rad. So that's my project that I'll be working
Motto,
on.
MAATO in the chat room. I love it.
Isn't that great?
I actually do see what you're saying about it looking like pixels.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Cross stitch is great because you can.
It seems like too much work for me.
Oh, it's a ton of work. But I get to do something nerdy involving video games without having any electronics turned on.
That's true.
So I'm unplugged from the world.
But still,
I'm decompressing, but still being.
you still have
nerdy.
your ties to that world.
Yes, exactly. Because I mean, come on, I'm not going to exactly cross stitch some flowers with some babies saying "I love you, mommy" or something like that. It's just not me.
I've been corrected in the chat room too. Apparently, there is an Oregon Trail movie. It's just a musical. I did not know that.
Oh, no. That's Cannibal the Musical. That's
Cannibal the
different.
Musical. That's what I get for
Cannibal
skimming the chat room.
is a trauma film.
There is an Oregon Trail movie.
By Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the South Park guys.
Alfred Packard?
Alfred Packer. There's no D at the end. Packer the Musical. It's about it's a historical musical about the first big cannibal court case. It's about a guy named Alfred Packer who takes a bunch of people out into the Colorado territory and gets lost and theoretically eats everybody. And then they hang him and they turn it into a wacky musical.
Well, this made our short rap segment quite a long segment. I think with
Are
that...
we still recording the show?
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. I thought we ended like a half hour ago.
I know it. Well, I think...
for those of you who like longer shows, you are welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That wraps up this episode of the Linux Action Show.
Oh, man.
But we'll be back next week, probably with some sort of show that looks at Shotwell.
Probably. Give or take. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until then, thanks so much for watching.
My Illumination.